Hey everyone, Osman here, to bring you yet another manga review. This time, we're reviewing Shinryaku Ikamusume, or, to translate into English, Invade Squid Girl. Even though Musume technically means daughter and not girl, but whatever. Let's get started.
Musume is a manga about a girl who is, well, part squid and has powers of a squid, such as her hair is squid tentacles that she can retract and grow, which are pretty strong. They have length, power, speed, all that crap. She has ink, barf, and as the manga goes on, you see more powers from her. Now, the thing is, the manga, it has a weird concept and premise, but it's mundane and not very weird most of the times. It's mostly a calm manga, but not that that's bad. It's still pretty good, and the plot does get some really interesting jokes to come out. So, yeah. That's the plot of Squid Girl. Yeah, anyways, like I said, yes, the manga does get some interesting jokes about her being a squid and interesting stuff like that, and it does get some funny jokes that can get you to laugh. The thing is, most of the chapters are really short, mostly being like 10 pages at the longest. The first chapter is like 15 pages, but that goes with the regular manga pattern that the first chapter is always the longest. But yeah, the plot, it's interesting while at the same time not interesting. The plot is a good plot, but it doesn't take advantage of this odd, weird, interesting plot most of the time. But, anyways, I do find the plot to be a good plot. So, yep, let's move on.
Alright, like usual, after the plot is, of course, the characters. So, first things first, let's talk about the main character, Ikamusume.
Squid Girl, or Ikamusume, is a character that comes from the sea and calls herself the messenger of the sea. She always puts gesso at the end of every time she says a word, and if you speak Japanese, you know that that means tentacles. Anyways, she is a pretty funny character due to her being so oblivious to all things in the surface world, due to her, yeah, coming from the sea. And she is really funny, and she always gets some laughs out of me. These, like, twice in a chapter, or once or twice in a chapter, she can get some laughs out of me. So, yeah, I find her to be a really good character. Speaking of Ika, am I the only person to find her incredibly kawaii? I mean, look at this. She is honestly one of the cutest characters I have seen in a manga yet. Why is she so kawaii? But yeah, let's move on.
Alright, there's actually like 4 other characters other than Ikamusume, if I'm keeping track. So, let's talk about Eiko.
Eiko has a similar personality to teenagers. She can be sarcastic and cynical, and also, I don't know if this actually gets revealed in Volume 1, but she's a gamer. But yeah, she can also be pretty funny, and her characteristics may be kind of bland, just being like any normal teenager is, except without the whining. But yeah, she is pretty much a teenager character. Well, not that that's weird, she is a teenager. But whatever. let's move on to the next character.
Okay, next up, Shizuru. Let's talk about her.
Alright, Shizuru's character is very interesting. She pulls off an act of being just a quiet, nice, motherly figure, but inside she is violent and creepy and actually also finds enjoyment out of Ikamusume's pain, which is incredibly funny. She is a very funny character. One of the funniest characters in this manga, actually. Yeah, and when they said she's creepy, I was not kidding. This is what she looks like when she opens her eyes. Yep, her eyes are always closed. Like Brock.
Alright, next up is Takaru. Let's move on to him.
Alright, I'll just go ahead and say it. Takaru is my least favorite character in this manga. A volume 1, at least. No, I'm not saying he's a bad character. He's nice and kind and playful. He's a good character. I'm just saying he's not as good as characters like Eiko, Shizuru, or Ika. And, well, he's just not as interesting as the other characters. But, not to say he's a bad character. He is a pretty fun character. And I like him. Just not as much as the other characters.
Alright, next up, Sanae. 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 Next up is Sanae.
Now, Takaru is probably my least favorite character in the manga. Sanae is probably my most favorite. She is hilarious. She actually somehow develops a crush on Ikamusume and falls in love with her because of how cute she is, and it's friggin' hilarious. Every time she's in the manga, every time, it's always a hilarious chapter. She always manages to get laughs out of me. She is my favorite character of this manga in Volume 1. My favorite. But yes, let's move on to the next.
Alright, the next character to talk about, Goro. Let's talk about him.
Lastly is the lifeguard, lifesaver character, Goro. Goro is a character who, well, takes his job as a lifeguard very seriously, tries to protect the oceans, and, well, he's also has a crush on Chizuru, and is also a pretty funny character. He's pretty much a character who takes his job seriously and tries to be able to do his job. But I like him as a character. He is a funny character. But anyways, that's it for the plot, and that's it for the characters. So, let's move straight on to the overall opinions.
Alright, overall, I recommend Ikamusume to you if you're looking for a cute manga to get a few laughs out of you. It is funny at times, and it is also an interesting plot. It's a good manga with good characters and a pretty good scenario. So yeah, that's my overall opinions on Ikamusume. So, see you guys next week on my next manga review.